All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing? Welcome. Paul Tranny here. Going to dive into creating some cool halftone effects that can really just add a style to anything that you're creating, which I absolutely love. So go ahead and hit that share button, that like button. It'd be great. And that would be fantastic. All right. So I see you there, Patricia, Mohammed, Jonathan. Fantastic. All right, looks like we are live. Feel free to hit share. We'll keep these, get these questions rolling in. And yeah, again, halftone effects, awesome. I think the Creative Cloud channel, the Twitter handle that is, sent out a little tutorial on this earlier too, but I want to show you how you can make some magic with it. So welcome Juan from Nicaragua, Patricia, awesome. Oh, you're too sweet. Thank you so much. You're sharing. Great. Hi everyone. So let's dive into this if we can. Hopefully my voice isn't too loud, but I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we can see what kind of trouble we can get into if I could. Again, thanks so much for joining. I'll show you what I'm making. All right. Okay, so here's one example, right? You can see this right here. Also, you can see sort of this sort of type of effect as well right here. This is halftone effect. You get the idea, right? That's how it works. It's basically creating all these little dots so you don't have to, and that's fun. There's my friend Mohammed. Good to have you here, Mohammed. Fantastic. And again, you could do this with any illustration. And what I want to take this to the next level, because I want to show you how you can kind of warp these patterns and just make some. It just gives it so much more depth. Let me turn down the music a little bit. I was rocking out earlier. What can I say? Let's turn it down a little bit. Sorry about that. I'm rocking out to some royalty-free music here. All right, Afroja, good to have you here. Fantastic. All right, so I think I have everything going. So let's just kind of zoom out. I'm gonna work on this one. I can share this article later, but I'm gonna focus on what I have going on here and how you can start from scratch. So again, the distortion is what makes it. You're exactly right, Ruby. And I'm honored to have Maria Grunland join me today. Oh, she is amazing. I've always admired your work, Maria. You're fantastic. But I encourage you to make this easy. Like I just imported a photo, right? Drop down the opacity, right down to 50%, something like that, just so I can be able to see it. And then I'll start drawing on top of it. I'll just hit N for the pencil tool, and you'll just jump in and start sort of drawing what you need to in this case. Just some quick tips there. Here's the line. Of course, this is really fat and chunky, isn't really working out too well. I want to add some character to it, so I would change the width profile, right? So it's kind of thick and thin. That's what I would do. Another thing I would do is I'd go over here to appearance and I'd say, hey, you know what? Every time you draw a line, make sure it has that new appearance. So I uncheck this box under appearance. Oh, excuse me, this one right here. New art has basic appearance. No, it's like saying, hey, don't reset it to a boring line. Always do what I just did. Okay, so that's what I want to do. In fact, that's what I do right here. Hit N, start drawing right over here, curving this, and it's a little thick overall. I can kind of still take that down some. 7 is good, and I'd start to outline this. The cool thing about this, another pro tip, is I would probably use a tool to mirror this particular shape. So I'd actually use something like Mirror Me, or I'd flip it in Illustrator. But here's where I'd start to draw out everything, just like this. We're gonna get to the halftone here in a second, but first we need some shapes. We can do some lines over here, just have some fun drawing as we do, right? Adding what I need to, you get the idea. I already have this drawn, but I do want to show you real fast. This is a bonus thing. Oh, I'm too loud? Let's take that down. Okay, let's make the music a little lower too. Okay, I did it. I turned it down. It is super low right now, and Again, this isn't an advertisement for the band Lost and Found, because that's what was planned. Apologize about that. So, and again, thanks for the heads up. Let's kind of take a look at this. Anel, thanks for joining me. Here I have the face that I've drawn. I could select this, and I want to show you really fast. In fact, let's add one more because you're going to need some basic shapes, right? So you'd have some basic shapes as well. Still using the pencil tool or pen. I'd start creating sort of color right in here as well. Is it still too loud, huh? I apologize. Let's just take it all the way down. There you go. All right, I added it. I added that sound channel in a different way this time. But this is what I do. I'd start to create this lion. I'm going to use something called Mirror Me. It's right over here. It's by Astute Graphics. If I select that, Mirror Me will give me the ability to flip these graphics. In fact, let's escape out of that first, and let's select everything, click, and let's do, I want it to mirror actually everything. Everything's selected. And that's how I can sort of mirror those shapes. Apply to the selection, and we have that done. And we're well on our way to making our lion. All right, so boom, here we are. We have it done. There we have it. And this is where we'd start. Check this out. I would then add gradients to this, right? This is key, adding gradients, like I'm doing right now. Right here, adding gradients. These are key. I would add gradients to all of these parts really fast, right? And I'd, of course, group the things that need to be grouped. In this case, go to the Properties panel, something like that. You get the idea. After adding the gradients, this is what I get. I have my outlines. I have my gradients. The next step is to add texture. Okay, so I want to add some texture right in here, okay? And this is where the halftone comes into play. So it's going to be this shape right here. I want to add a cool halftone effect. There's a couple different ways to do this, so that's why I'm glad everybody's joining me. I'm going to go to Effect. I'm going to go down to Pixelate, and I'm going to go to Color Halftone. So this is what you need to remember. Effects, Pixelate, Color Halftone. That's where you want to go. Selecting that, this is the dialogue that you'll get. Okay, you're going to have to play with this. But where you want to keep it is you want to keep all these channels the exact same number, 444. Just leave it like that. This max radius we could play with. All right. So with that done, click OK. This is what it does. It takes that color, it gives me this halftone effect, which is pretty cool. Okay. But check this out. I'm going to take it to the next level because look, what does it do down here? It gives me this color halftone right here on this layer, right? So it's kind of either on or off, right? So actually what I want to do is I want to apply this a little bit differently. This is going to give you more control. I'm going to throw that away. I'm going to add a new fill. And then on this new fill, I'm going to add the color halftone. When I do that, and we'll take this up to 18, click OK. Gives me that effect on this new fill, but I can change the opacity, you got it right, and let that other color show through, because right now it's too intense. So I would change this to maybe soft light and adjust the opacity accordingly. All right. Bob Cody, yeah, good question. You don't really need an extra plugin to flip the image. What I do like about it is if you have lots of layers, the Mirror Me plugin will keep everything on the layers and flip everything accordingly, which is awesome. So that's why I use it. Usually you have to have everything selected and it's like a copy and paste, but then everything ends up on one layer. So if you're dealing with really complex items, things on multiple layers, that's where I think Mirror Me comes in. But great question. Yes, but it is a plugin. Thank you so much. Again, we don't work with them, but they're nice people. Okay, they're not. We're not. Yeah, good job. Everybody's like, it's easy to do manually. You're right. I'm just lazy. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do. Going down the line, adding a color halftone. Oops. Excuse me. Adding a new fill for, say, both of these. and then adding a color halftone just like that, and then adjusting the opacity or the blend modes. Okay, so that's how we get that effect. I'm going to get into the distorting because it sounds like people really like, people can, yeah, that's funny. I'm not selling anything. I'm not really, yeah, I think people really like the distortion, so that's what I want to get into. So I'm going to add a new fill. I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to show, I have so many things to show now that I think about it. Pixelate color halftone again. I can make this smaller for this part. I can make this, 14 instead of 18. Play with that. That's going to be smaller. And then we can play with these adjustments. But this is only one way of doing halftones. I got so many other cool ideas. Okay, so let's go in here. Let's just kind of remove this. Remove some of these points. Check this out. I want this to be warped, kind of like in my example. Well, I can select that object, go to Object, Envelope, Distort, and now I'm going to make this with a mesh. Ooh, great question, Ivan. Thank you so much. Can you add halftone to strokes? Yes. Thank you. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. That's what I want to get to. Yeah, so Anthony, the channels are CMYK based. You'll see that offset because that's actually kind of trying to mimic a comic book look. So yeah, so anyways, I'm going to go into Make with Mesh. Boop. Gives me this. Let's divide this by 4 and 4. Okay, and let's just see what that looks like. That looks good. Obviously, the more lines you have, the more distortion you'll have. Click OK. Using my direct selection tool, I can select this bottom point and bring that up to let's move that down a little bit. Bring up this point right here to distort that particular. There we go. To distort this particular effect. Okay, so we see what happens there. Taking this point, you could basically see what's happening, right? It's distorting those parts. And then I can have fun with other parts of this, making it smaller up here, for instance. As I shrink that down, we'll see that distort as well. Okay, so that's what I did. And keep in mind, you just have to apply the distort after you apply, the halftone effect, right? With that done, you'll end up with something like this. Brian Boo says, you want to accurately replicate a halftone with a desired, is that LPI, lines per inch? I think that's probably more of a print term. What you do have control over, by the way, as I, maybe select something in here, select this down here, color halftone. These are the degrees that they're offset. Okay, so I will change this to 2, 4, 6, 8. Click OK, and you'll see what happens right here. See how it gives it that effect? Obviously, it's offsetting each one of those channels accordingly per pixel. Yeah, so that's what happens. Is there any difference between CMYK and RGB in Photoshop? There's definitely differences between CMYK and RGB, like period, in Photoshop, yes, and in Illustrator as well. Okay, and keep in mind, I'm not making anything for print. I'm playing with these blend modes and different things to make an online image. So yeah, those are the settings that you can control with a halftone, with basically making sort of a color halftone. But let's go beyond this because there's different ways we could do this. This is one way. I use the halftone effect, okay? Down here, pixelate color halftone. There's another thing you could do is you could use swatches. So let's go back to this original one. Let's select, say, let's actually lock that down. Select, this right here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'll add a new fill. And this time I'm going to use swatches. So if you go to Window, down to Swatch Libraries, oh gosh, now I got to kind of reach into the recesses of my brain and figure out where I got them, because I already have them loaded in. I have to double check to see where I got them, but basically I'm going to open up these swatch libraries. I've actually what I did is I went through most of these swatch libraries, and I've added the ones that I've liked the most and added them as part of my swatches. So this always travels with me, and I always have them available. But these are the ones that you're going to load in. And in order to add them, of course, we can select and go with this 10 DPI, for instance, or this one next to it, probably 100 DPI, as I start to add these little dots. Okay, super simple pattern. I can double click on this and you can see what this is made up of. Simple shapes. These are just patterns that I essentially got. I didn't even make them, that I'm now using in Illustrator. Okay, and keep in mind what's happening here. We have this appearance panel. Zoop. It's like apply that dot pattern over the top of that color. And still we have the ability to change this, such as change that to overlay if that's a look that I want. Okay, so that's what I'm doing there, adding swatches where I need to make the effects that I want, like I'm doing right now. Just remember that you have to add a new fill and then add that swatch. Okay, taking a look. Why is the lion looking so upset? It's not upset, it's just serious. He's like, man, it's a lot of responsibility being the king of the jungle. I got a lot of weight on my shoulders. Right? And actually, have you ever seen I don't know if I've ever seen a lion smile. It's like not in his job description, okay? But that's what I would do. Just to jump ahead and show you like another version, here's a version made with swatches, okay? We have swatches that are lines, swatches that are dots, swatches with gradations, and that's what I have here. Yeah, it kind of does have a fabric-like look too. Good call. All right, so what we have is we have the pixelate color halftone effect. We have the swatches effect. And also what you could do is you can make brushes or buy brushes that will give you this halftone effect. Because I was asked, and that's the great thing about these live streams, I was asked, you know, can you apply this to a stroke? So let me just see if it's loaded in there. Hello, Don Hubs. Love the tutorials. Good. Just keep the questions coming. Thanks so much, everybody, for hanging out with me, trying to find out. I'm broadcasting all over the place, and it's a little crazy. All right. Oh yeah, they're here. Check this out. This is what I've done as well. I think this is so, I've talked about this before. This is so valuable. But basically I set up a default document that has all the swatches that I want, all of those halftones, and then I have a bunch of brushes. And the brushes also have halftone brushes in there as well. And I have all these loaded in my master document. So you could just make any Illustrator file and then put it in your new document profiles folder, right? Zoop, put it right in here. And all you need will always be there for you, right? So that's what I did. When I went to File, New, it's always there. That just saves me the hassle of creating my own brushes. But now if I'm making whatever the case may be, I'll select a halftone pattern. And there it is, right there. There's that halftone pattern. Let's get rid of that. As you can see. And I could use this for my lion design as well. And keep in mind, I can always use these width profiles with it. So again, just going back to my lion, making a new layer. Guess what? I should have, maybe I don't have those brushes. If I want to bring brushes in, I could just copy the current brush style. When I paste it in, it brings over that style right there. So essentially that's what I would do potentially when outlining this lion. So taking this here, applying that like so, and there we have that dot pattern being applied. Bob Cody, I don't use the Astute Graphic Vector Scribe plugin. I know it's pretty popular, but I would love to hear more about it. Again, I have not used it, but I would love to hear more about it, like what you like about it, what it does, and all that fun stuff. Fantastic. And thanks also for joining me on Twitter. And Kaleem, hello as well. Cool. Hi, Kaleem, Waleed, Mamunel as well. I'm kind of slowing down. You kind of see what I can do here. Again, I have a ton of other ones right in here, so I can always see what some of these other patterns look like. This one looks pretty good. This one's pretty good. These are a little more rough than some of the others, but they each will like serve a purpose. I really like this one as well. Okay, coming in here. Let's use it. Down there, and there you have that particular line. Cool. Super easy. And I might use some of that for my final, but I think where this is ending up is I think I'm going to use this one that has the halftone effects where everything's kind of distorted is currently my favorite. Okay. I think it's starting to look a little bit like a sheepdog though. What can I do? What can I do? Matija, will I ever do tips and tricks for InDesign? Occasionally, not really. Terry White, go ahead and follow the InDesign Facebook page there. I think he literally did an InDesign tutorial today. So we're everywhere, which is cool. Yeah, you create the brushes yourself and you save them. Again, that's what you do is you create your master file and then you save them to this folder. So I've already made all the brushes and saved them out. So that's how that works. We'll have to do something else later on creating brushes, but here they all are. It's just a matter of selecting the graphic, dropping it into your library, and making a pattern brush. It's that easy. And don't forget this one color corner, just like that. And you might need to play with the size right over here. And that's about it. Done and done. Super, super, hold on, wait for it. Fun. There you have it. Well, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to add that brush to this text and let's see what happens. Absolutely nothing. Let's create an outline. And add it. There you go. Another brush just for fun, as you can see. So, what's the difference between the new gradient tool and the mesh tool? That's a great question. And kind of wrap up with this last question. But you're going to have more control when it comes to applying gradients, but it's all about what you want to do. So here's a case. I'm just using a regular gradient. The short of it is the mesh tool is hard. Overall, the mesh tool is kind of hard to use, as opposed to, you ready for it? People don't know about this, then you need to right down here. Zoop, freeform gradient, click, adding that, and I have these nice freeform points that I can use and apply appropriately. Okay, so this just gives me a lot more flexibility rather than dealing with a grid. Okay, so that's why I would use it. So again, super cool. Let's add a little dot right there. Let's make this a little brighter. You get the idea. And I could just have like all the fun that I want with this gradient. Freeform gradient tool. So thanks so much for watching. Yes, thank you so much for applying Adobe Illustrator. And I'm going to let everybody go. Did I go too fast? I don't know. But it's super easy to work with halftones. And I just say, anytime you feel like you're getting stuck with a style or it's just not popping, because that's exactly what happened here. I was like, it's not really popping. It's not doing anything for me. It's not bad, but could I, bring it to the next level by adding maybe some halftones if that's the style I'm going for. So you get that. I'm going to post this to Instagram later just so you know. You can see my Instagram handle right over there. And that's about it. So thank you, Dexter. Thank you, Stuart. I really appreciate everybody taking time out of their busy schedule. I'm here for you and just trying to add value to your lives and make you successful. Not that you need my help, but hey, who doesn't need help on occasion? That's for sure. So thanks so much, everyone. Annie, Dawn, Afroja, Dexter, Anel, Matija, Kaleem, Waleed, everybody. Fantastic. And again, I will post this on Instagram later as well. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Don't forget to floss and drink lots of water. And yeah, that's about it. Get a full night's sleep. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching.